Hi there, Maria Lupita, psychic medium, and today I just want to share a little bit more about a story that I started to tell about being able to connect with loved ones who are in a coma. I got permission to share this story from my good friend Diana, who allowed me to share this. So this story is about myself and with my friend and co-worker Diana. So I worked with an agency before I fully came out and had my full-on practice as being a psychic medium. I had a near-death experience in the year 2000 that I really had to learn how to come to terms with. It took me about a good 8 years to really fully understand what was happening to me, why I was sensing and feeling the things that I was sensing, and just trying to get comfortable with it. There's a lot of misconceptions and misunderstandings about people like me and what we do and where this information comes from. So from my near-death experience in the year 2000, I spent about a good 8 years to really understand what I was capable of, why this was happening to me, and what to do with it. I also had to come to terms with being okay with it within myself. So about 10 years ago, I was working full-time. This is before I even had a full-time practice as being a psychic medium. I was just coming out and learning about these abilities, and then people were finding me out of the woodworks. I had a family. I worked Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. I was raising 2 kids. I was helping my ex-husband build a business. Nowhere did I even think that I would be doing something like this. So if somebody told me that I would be an intuitive and a medium and a psychic medium doing this professionally to help people connect with loved ones who has passed, I would have thought they were crazy. Now, I've always been interested in this. I've had some really extraordinary experiences, but after that near-death experience in the year 2000, everything changed. So again, I spent about 8 years really trying to understand and discover myself and come to terms with it. Then, because I was working full-time, I had a life. I had, this normal life. How in the world was I going to be able to explain not only to my family what was happening around me, to my extended family, to my siblings, my parents, but also my coworkers and my friends? So it took a lot for me to really come to terms and accept this for myself. And right now, I cannot think of a better thing to do. Is just to be here fully, authentically, myself, unapologetically, being able to share this information and this gift and these stories with you, this ability that I have to be able to connect with people who have passed. So with my friend Diana's permission, I'm going to share this story. So 10 years ago, I was working with an agency that Diana and I both worked, and part of our job was to actually travel around the state, visiting the different senior programs that are available and out there. And during this drive, I spontaneously, through a course of conversation, just started talking to Diana, and I had the courage to tell her what I am and what I do. And in the course of that conversation, within the first 5 minutes or so, all of a sudden I started to sense and feel her daughter. I did not know that Diana had a daughter who passed. Oh my goodness, God bless her. So I had no background, no information. I didn't really know Diana personally. But on this drive and on this trip, here we both were. And I began to share a lot of information with her about her daughter, about how she passed, about an accident that it was involved in, about her personality, how she really wanted her mom to know that she was okay. After sharing this story with Diana on this drive, it brought me to tears because she told me that she had always wanted to see a medium, always wanted to see a psychic, to see if she could connect with her daughter to get a sense of peace of mind. But she was a skeptic. I'm a skeptic. I do this work and I'm a skeptic. So she was really apprehensive and did not reach out to anybody because, unfortunately, a lot of people that do this really take advantage of others, or they use really simplistic terms with really not able to convey. Now, we have to be really careful. Now, here's the thing. I'm an intuitive and a medium, and I do this for a living, and I'm telling you to use discernment and to be skeptical. I use my discernment and I'm skeptical all the time. We have to really understand where this information is coming from and how we use it. And so being able to really understand that, coming from a place of authenticity, coming from a place of my only desire it to help, to be able to bring that sense of peace of mind. So on this drive, as I'm telling Diana all about her daughter, it brought her to tears and it brought me to tears. And she said that she had waited for 19 years to be able to connect with her daughter, to know that her daughter was okay, that her daughter actually crossed, that she did not feel pain at the time of her passing, and that she wanted to know that she was okay, that she was still with her, and that she felt peace. There's a moment, there's a moment of grace. And this is a perfect example to be able to explain that oftentimes when our loved ones cross over in traumatic ways, there's a moment of grace where they are outside of the body and not having to experience the full-on pain that they have to go through. Just being able to convey that message to her gave her such sense of peace. Another fact of our existence is that we have not only our loved ones on the other side waiting to receive us, but we also have our own guardian angels, our guides that are there also to receive us. And so we have them there available at the time of our passing to help receive the soul, help the soul understand what has occurred, especially when it's a traumatic situation like a vehicle accident. So in this moment, being able to convey that she did not experience pain, that she was not alone at the time of her passing, that she actually made it, that she loved her mama so much and wanted to be able to tell her that she was okay. And that's all that Diana wanted to know. And then we continue to talk about a lot of other things, but that was the most important thing, and that has always stayed with me because at the time I was really struggling with doing this professionally, really putting myself out there, and all of the ridicule and all of the misunderstandings and all of the criticisms that come along with when people do not understand. They fear what they don't understand. And because I myself didn't understand this, there was a fear element at the very beginning for me until I really understood how to work with it. So with the guidance of my mama, who is also extremely intuitive, I come from a lineage of very strong and powerful women on both my mama's and my papa's side. Both my grandmothers both had healing qualities and abilities and had curanderas in our family. So that's a really strong bond that we have. And being able to understand how to use this gift in the right way, only and always through God, only with that right guidance, knowing what we're working with, raising the vibration, because there's a lot of energies out there that are not all with the best of intentions. There's a whole realm of benevolent and malevolent, both the angels and the demons that sit on the shoulders that influence us. That stuff's real. There is a realm that it does exist, and so you have to understand what it is that you're tapping into. So I know that this is a lot to share, so please bear with me, and I hope that I can provide enough context for this to make sense. So being able to convey that information for Diana gave me that sense of understanding the responsibility that I have, that as a mama myself, I could not imagine not knowing, always wondering, the fear of, are they alone? Are they okay? Did they make it? Were they hurt? Did they feel pain? Are they still around me? Being able to share all of those messages, I understood the gift and the healing that it can actually bring to someone. So in that drive, on our road to our next stop, Diana and I really shared a very powerful experience, and she was so accepting of me. And Diana, I thank you with my whole heart, because you really helped me to have the courage to continue to speak out and share this. And right now, I fully understand that it's not my responsibility to even worry about how somebody receives this information. My job is just to put it out there. Whoever is meant to hear this will hear this. Whoever it is meant for will also receive peace within this message. So after that occurred, fast forward a little bit, Diana now knows that I have this ability, and out of the blue and out of an emergency came a situation where her brother's daughter was in an accident. And in that accident were her 3 daughters as well as Diana's granddaughter. It was a critical moment because they were rushed to the emergency room. The smallest one, her name is Lexi, actually was in that accident. And we had to all come together, rally around her, and to really pray for her. It was touch and go for a while there. When Diana reached out, my suggestion was that we have a prayer circle. And with her permission and her family, and getting as many people as we can to come together to help pray for this little girl, a very miraculous moment happened for me. And so this little girl, who is now in a coma, is reaching out and needing and wanting that healing that the love of family can bring, the love of prayer and community can bring. Prayer is the most healing thing that we can possibly even imagine. So from that prayer meeting, I actually separated myself, and we were all scattered. I was in my home, people were in the hospital, and other people were in their homes, but we were praying everywhere we were together at the same time. So I separated myself and I was praying in my bedroom. And I remember sitting on the floor and closing my eyes and going into a really, really deep, deep place of prayer. And spontaneously, I felt myself drifting, not even in the room. And then all of a sudden, I could see the hospital room. I could see the hospital bed. I could see where little Lexi was laying down. I could see the family around her. And I could see this glow that she had. I got a sense of this massive swelling in her head, and what I was shown was the actual accident and what occurred. At that moment, it was critical. There was massive swelling that was happening in the brain, and they did not know whether she was going to survive or not. So we all jumped into the mode of prayer for her healing, united at one time. And so seeing that hospital bed with her there, and being able to see the family all around her, and sensing and feeling what she was going through and what she was experiencing. Now, this is from seeing her body there on the bed. And as I was praying for her even deeper, all of a sudden I felt myself going into this other place outside of time and space. It would be as if there were no walls, there was no furniture, it was just an open space. It felt dim, but not dark and not scary. As I recognized what this was, I saw a little girl playing, and I saw this magnificent, beautiful angel just guiding her, guarding her, protecting her, keeping her safe. And as I approached, I felt the energy of this protective angel ask me to clarify what my intention was. We're in this place outside of time and space, just our pure souls, our pure consciousness, sensing and feeling this magnificent protective angel all around her, where I had to state what my intention was. And my only intention was to reach out to her and to see if she was okay. I felt her there playing, and so beautiful, very much at peace and very protected. And in that experience, I reached out to her, and I felt like I gave her the biggest hug and telling her that people were praying for her. But here's the thing, to my surprise, she told me 3 things. She said the first thing she wanted was her mom to know that, yes, I was holding your hand. Apparently there was a moment where she squeezed the hand and the mom thought she was imagining it. The second thing that came out of that was she said, "Tell my pampo I like it. Tell my pampo I like it." And all she did was show her wrist and do this motion. And it looked like a bracelet or something in my mind's eye. And the third thing that she wanted to know was that her sissy, and she called her sissy, it was a different name for sister, but she was bouncing her knees with this soccer ball. And she said, "Tell my sissy that we'll play again." And so very, very vivid messages. And then from there, I felt like this gratitude, this extraordinary sense of peace, and then that protection from that angelic being. Then I felt myself being pulled back into the awareness of her hospital room, where I felt like I wanted just to give her a blessing. So it felt to me as if I went to the very head of her hospital bed and cradled her head with my hands. And in that moment when I did, I said a prayer to Archangel Raphael, who's known for healing. And it felt to me as if something much greater and bigger than myself fully stepped in through me, beyond me, and worked with this beautiful little girl. I felt this energy from my hands going into her head and just feeling this beautiful light just come through and help bring this healing. It looked like this vibration that I can't even explain. And from that place, just this deep, deep healing. And I could feel this surge of energy just rushing through me. And in that moment, I knew that even though it was touch and go, not knowing if this precious little girl was going to survive the night, if she was going to be able to survive it through. So from that place and in after that energy, sensing and feeling that healing flow through her body, I felt like a sense of peace and a blanket of calm. And I also saw, and I've seen it multiple times now, where it looks like it's like this etheric field. It's like an energy field. It looks like it just extends just beyond ourselves, where it has an encoding, and it looked like it was, her whole body was just aglow, and just this healing energy just all around her, that I could see and sense and feel these angelic beings helping energetically. Because it was being done in a state of prayer, I could feel not only their loved ones, their ancestors, but I could also feel like the guides and the angels of everybody within that room. That the healing energy within that room was so extraordinary that it felt to me without a doubt that this girl was going to be able to survive this massive episode. So from that, being able to come back into my own awareness, I felt the energy start to dissipate. My fingers were tingling everywhere, and bringing my, again, awareness back into my own body. And there I am, sitting in a dimmed lit room in my bedroom in my house in Santa Fe. And when I opened my eyes, my whole hands were like red as could be, and I had tears streaming down my face, and apparently I was crying and didn't even realize it. I was so moved because I didn't understand what happened. So here I am, first of all, in my bedroom, going to a distance into the hospital room. That's called remote viewing, being able to put your conscious awareness into another location separate from your physical body. I understand that now. And then from beyond that, going into a much deeper place of working directly with the soul, and then being able to see that guardianship that all of us have, and especially children, because they are not able to fully advocate for themselves as adults do. So children, and especially children who are in a state of trauma, who are in a state of illness, or who have prolonged extended conditions have this incredible angelic assistance and guardianship and guidance. I've seen that happen one other time with one of the most incredible, powerful souls that I've met, who happens to be autistic. And that's another story to share. But I know that children have this, and they are protected when we feel like we can't protect them. So as a mama of my own, when our children are in that state, to know that our children are looked after, are guarded and protected. So if their physical body is not capable of being alert and awake and protected for themselves, in that spiritual place, there is that guardianship, and that is extraordinary to know. Now, every single one of us has it, even as adults, but it is more powerful, and they play a more active role as children, because again, children are not fully able to advocate fully for themselves, so they play a different role, if you will. And I can explain that in the future of how, as we develop, how the role of our angels and guides also develop, or not. So here I am back in the bedroom, and I got tears streaming down my face, and I realize what has happened, and to only come to find that this little girl is at a distance, but also in a coma, but yet gave me these 3 messages to carry to her family. So as soon as I could, I got a hold of Diana, and I shared it with her, and I said, I gotta tell you what happened. So she happens to be on the phone, and I'm passing these messages to her, and she's crying and I'm crying, and I'm telling her, please tell your Hita, please tell your niece that her Hita, Lexi, felt her hold her hand and felt her squeeze it. From there, it turns out that this happened to be that they were all at McDonald's, and they had a Happy Meal, and one of the toys that was in the Happy Meal happened to be this little girl watch, and it was blingy and sparkly, and the grandpa had put it on his own wrist and said that he was going to wear it for Lexi because it's something that she would have liked. In that place, they were still in the hospital room at that moment. When I went to sense and feel her, she told me she liked it, but they had not yet gone to eat. So that begs another question. Time also is completely different in that state. Time and space run very differently. Time does not exist except for a linear structure. It's not linear, it loops. Everything that is happening, it could happen, is happening. And that is really complex. And it took me a while to understand that concept when that was shared with me through my near-death experience. Only after, in my studies of quantum physics and quantum mechanics and dark energy and other things that exist within the universe, do I finally understand that. So here's this little girl outside of time and space giving me these 3 messages. And only after do I find out that she saw the watch before it even happened. Blows my mind. Wow. So the blingy was to tell her Pampo that she really liked it. And from what I understand, he continued to wear that watch while she was in the hospital. And then the third thing is that I guess the little girls were part of soccer leagues. And so she wanted to let her sister know that she was going to be able to play soccer again. And I saw her running and struggling, but she wanted to play. So it was all a message for her sister that she was going to be able to. So that's a lot. That was a whole massive experience. Now, I continued to work with Diana, and through that time, her niece, Lexi, was still recovering, and then and we didn't work in the same locations, by the way. Diana worked in Taos, and I worked in Santa Fe, so we didn't see each other every day, and so we tried to keep in contact as much as possible, but after the shared experience, we kind of lost contact after I quit my job. so that I could open up my practice full time. And after I opened my practice full time, like I said, we lost connection. But in preparation of the live video, I reached out to Diana today, and I asked for her permission to be able to share this story, first of all, about the comas. I was going to share a different story, and yet this morning in my prayer, in preparation for the video, all of a sudden I felt Lexi, I felt Diana's daughter, I felt the mom, and I remembered that the very first spontaneous communication with someone in a coma was with Lexi and with Diana's family. So after reaching out to Diana, I got to get an update. Lexi was 7 years old, and she's now 17 years old, 10 years later. Now, she survived the episode, she survived the accident, although she also did have some traumatic brain injury that continued and lingered. It was a severe accident that fully impacted the brain, where it could have left further permanent, massive damage, and it being touch and go there for a moment. A miracle happened, she survived, and she's doing well, and she actually, from what I understand, is thriving and living in Colorado. So that happened 10 years ago. And since then, oh my gosh, I have had so many more experiences in sharing this ability and this gift. And I just really want to take this opportunity for Diana, for being willing to let me share your story, and being willing to let me share the details of it as well. Not only for your Hita, but also for Lexi. So when I reached out to Diana today, I understood that there was a whole bigger issue and a bigger reason, calling, and a purpose for me to call her. Here I am thinking that I'm just going to call her and ask permission, and it turns out that in that 20-minute phone call, half-hour phone call, it actually was an entire reading for Diana. And I was able to sense and feel Lexi's mama, to give a message to her daughter, her oldest daughter, and also for her brother, to let them know that his daughter's okay. So the mama has now since passed. The daddy has now since passed. And I was able to give messages to Diana about them, to let her know that she's okay, and to pass on messages to their daughters. Then I started to pass on a message to Diana from her daughter who passed away. When I gave that message to Diana 10 years ago, at that time I asked Diana, like, how long have you been waiting? She said, I've been waiting 19 years to know that my Hita was okay. Her Hita passed away 19 years before I had come along and in her path to share this message with her. And now, 10 years later, that was 29 years ago. And in my conversation with Diana today, all of a sudden I saw Diana dancing and laughing and joking with her Hita and her granddaughters. And I'm like, what is that? And she says, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. And I'm like, your Hita wants you to dance. She sees you dancing. She sees you dancing and laughing. And then she started to cry a little, and she says, well, with all this COVID stuff, I've been feeling really down, and I've not been feeling myself, and I haven't really gotten to move. And so I got to share with her that her daughter sees her. Her daughter saw her dancing and with her sister and with her nieces that are still there, wanting her to continue to laugh and dance. And then the other thing was, she showed me a large photograph that Diana has, and I got to tell Diana that it's like Diana gets to tuck her in every night because she passes by that photograph of her, and she validated it. And what I saw her do was like, and then touch the photo, and it was symbolic to me. So part of being an intuitive and a medium is learning to discern what I'm being shown is literal or symbolic. So it's literal that Diana has a photograph of her daughter. It's literal that she's walking by and stopping and acknowledging it. But when I asked her if she blesses it or kisses it, she said, I don't do that, but I do say goodnight. And in that moment, I realized that that was her Hita's way of showing me that it's like tucking her in at night. And that's what she wanted to convey to Diana, is like she's tucking her in and how much she loves it. And then the third thing I saw that was her message today was that she saw her creating what looked like an altar by her picture. I thought it was by her picture, but it turns out that it's in a completely separate area of her room where she's creating an altar for her, as we do in our tradition. I saw a candle, and I saw that I said, you recently dusted and moved all the candles, and she wants you to know that she likes the blue one. And Diana was able to validate that yes, she had just recently moved them, yes, she's creating it, and yes, one of the candles has blue. So in my desire to ask for her permission to share this story, I was able to share even more with her. And she was able to tell me the sense of peace that she got because of how down she was feeling with all the social distancing and not being able to do the things that we normally do. So I pray that we hear this and we know that our loved ones see us. They see what is happening around us now, currently. They want nothing more for us to feel good. The last thing that they want us to see from the other side is our suffering, and they definitely do not want us to suffer in their name. So as best as we can, we gotta do our part to go through the process, go through the grieving process. Do what you have to do, find your support, reach out, but do your best to try to elevate it, because when we're able to feel good, it lifts them up. When we feel good, then they can be at peace. It's hard for them to see us suffer, and so these messages come across so that they can convey their love for us, convey their joy that they experience when they see us experiencing joy. So, out of this one experience with Diana, 4 different experiences. The first reading with her daughter, then the whole miraculous experience with her niece and it being in the coma, the miraculous healing from that, being able to remote view, and then also reconnecting with her today to be able to get the follow-up of how everything turned out. So life, it's a process. We go through so much. We experience so much. We have so much loss, but we also have so much joy and so much beauty. And our loved ones sharing all of it with us. So I hope that this message gives you a little bit of sense of peace. I know that I tend to be a little scattered, and I thank you for your patience. I just have so much to say and so much to share. So I hope that you keep coming back so that I can continue to share, so that we may learn to share, learn, and grow together. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you again where I can share another story. In the meantime, just know that your loved ones are with you and the guidance is there. May you have peace and comfort. Good night.